And like every gym needs to do some marketing no matter what. I mean, I've heard some people say that, you're not a gym, you're a media company. Like that's not entirely true, but that does paint a picture about how important it is to have some kind of marketing going on. So like even when I wasn't working with Lasso, I was advertising on Google. So that was still an attempt to do something on my own. And like that worked to a very small degree. But that was barely like keeping my head above water kind of thing. It was like not it was not conducive to any growth, so every gym needs to have some kind of marketing because
you're an inspiration to our entire organization.
Welcome to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast. We're going to be talking the done-for-you marketing and sales strategies proven to work with boutique fitness gyms to increase quality lead flow and grow your revenue. Don't try to be a professional marketer and waste tons of money. Let the experts at Lasso do it for you. And now, here are your hosts, Blake Ruff and Sherman Merritt.
Another episode of Gym Marketing Made Simple. And today we have a special guest all the way from Ireland. His name is Michael Fitzpatrick. Now, Michael, welcome to the show. Let's just start there. Thanks for taking the time.
No problem.
All right, so guys, so the reason I'm laughing because I've known Michael for years, right? And we're about to get on the podcast and I say, all right, Mike. And he was like, well, just to be clear for the podcast, my name is actually Michael. And I'm like, so you've been letting me for the last 3 or 4 years call you Michael and you haven't corrected me once. So I just feel bad. Michael, I apologize for calling you Michael for the last 4 years, but you never corrected me. I mean, you never corrected me.
That's true. I did not. It's just hard for the Americans,
No, man. No, it's for the lazy Americans, not me. I can say Michael instead of Michael. That's not that's easy. So but Michael owns CrossFit PMI in Limerick, Ireland, right? And I'm gonna get over there soon, but that's besides the point. Let's talk a little bit about, because you're a client of ours, been for a little while. Just sort of let's start with how long have you been with us and sort of what has your experience been like since working with us? And then we'll sort of talk about before you start working with us and stuff like that. So give us a little bit about your gym. And just tell us a little bit.
Okay, so I've been with Lasso almost 18 months. And my gym is a very typical CrossFit gym, kind of average size, good location. Everything you'd kind of want from a CrossFit gym, it kind of ticks all the boxes, But just to tell you a little bit about my story, so when it comes to like marketing agencies and stuff like that, I have PTSD when it comes to this kind of thing, or at least I had before I started with Lasso. So like I had 2 really bad experiences years before I started working with Lasso. So just to dig into that a bit, I'd say about 2017, still trying to build the gym and stuff like that, came across the 6-week challenge. So the 6-week challenge is infamous at this stage, and I think most gym owners have heard of it. But yeah, that was my first experience with a marketing company. So did that a couple of times, and like I'd say, for me it was the same as everyone else. Basically, you get people in, and they're like really low quality leads. The marketing for that was just like you're going to get in the best shape of your life in 6 weeks. Almost like 6-pack in 6 weeks. And that's obviously not the case. And you're trying to re-educate people that come in the door. And literally most of the people that signed up for that kind of thing were gone after 2 weeks. Like literally about 50% of people that signed up were gone after 2 weeks. And then 80% were gone by the end of the 6 weeks. And then about 5% of people stayed on. So ran that twice. And like the second time was worse than the first time because, basically you're thinking, okay, if I keep doing this, keep getting people in, and eventually you'll grow your gym slowly, it'll be a bit up and down, but it was a disaster because you have a massive influx of people into your gym. It's chaos. Huge classes for about a week. Then they all drop off. The regular members are just like, what the hell was all that about? And you're like, oh, I'm trying to grow the gym. So that was really bad. Absolute disaster. So yeah, didn't want to touch another marketing company for a couple of years. And then I went at it again, got like a mentor and worked with a mentor for a while. And this was also a disaster because basically this guy was obsessed with cameras, like, right? So he was all about building like my social media profile and taking like pretty pictures of the members. So we had 3 phone calls with this guy, spent almost $2,000 on these like phone calls, and almost spent another $2,000 on a camera. Like, had the thing in my shopping cart on Amazon, and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? You know, I was just like, this cannot be the way. I can't be expected to be like in the background, either coaching and taking photos or taking photographs of the other coaches and members and stuff like that. But I was just like, this photography angle is just not for me. And like, that was after like an hour and a half talking to this person. This was like the big takeaway, you know. It was that and reaching out to old members, and like, you know, you don't need a mentor to tell you to reach out to old members. But anyway, that was a disaster too. So, and that was pre-COVID. So this right around about a month before COVID happened, I was just like, you know, it was a great opportunity to exit that relationship and that whatever. But then after COVID, the same as every other gym, right? So you have a big, massive influx of members after every gym in the country is like closed for almost a year. Yeah. And you think, oh my God, this is great. You know, more members now than we ever had before. And then, you know, very, very steadily, like we had a nice significant drop off. So my gym typically had like 100 members. You know, I was always trying to reach 100 for a long time and then breach 100, you know, go past it. And then we got to 130 when we reopened after COVID. It's great, you know, and then slowly, steadily declines then week by week, month by month. And so we reopened after COVID in July. Okay. Yep. And that steady decline just kept going to May. You know, I tried to do my own advertising on Google at this point. So I was spending about like €400 a month on Google. And I was like, Google give you like an agent to work with and stuff like that. And they'll have a live call with you and tell you to make these tweaks and changes. But you can see a lot of like search terms like, you know, yoga studio near me. I'm just like, look, that's not me. I shouldn't be appearing for these things. Like it's a waste of money. People are kicking on my gym for a yoga studio. It's like, no, Pilates, no, you know, that's not like, it's money that's wasted. And then you have all the other stuff, like you're showing up on YouTube and stuff like that. Like, you know, a little clip underneath those old YouTube videos. I don't think they do that anymore, but you know, all this kind of stuff. So this was going on till May 2022, basically. So yeah, reopened in July 21, May 22, got in contact with Sherman. And I was just basically got out a big loan and I was deciding what I was going to do with the money. Yep. So got in contact with Sherman and went on the call, and then Sherman told me about Lasso, told me the pricing, and then I was just like, okay, I'll think about it. And then what I decided to do with this like €20,000 loan was basically buy a load of new equipment. I was like, you know what? Yeah. So I've got like assault runners, like a cable machine and stuff like that for people who are injured. I got Push Press Grow and a new website built with that, which was very good. Yeah. And I thought like Grow on its own, I thought was going to change everything, and a new website would help. And like it did help. And it is very good for retention, but it just wasn't getting people in the door. You know, that doesn't get people in the door. So I put myself under a lot of pressure in that year because I got like the loan I got was really aggressive. I had €20,000 to pay it off in a year. Really aggressive loan. Like, myself and my then fiance, now wife, we were like, it was a lean year for us basically. Okay. Yeah. So then a full year later again, got in contact with Sherman again. And after all of this, all the money I spent on equipment and everything like that, you know, no one cared about the new equipment. Nobody give a shit about that, you know? I was like,
to be fair, I did tell you that when you told me. I was like, I mean, obviously I was trying to get you with us, but I was like, Mike, you don't need to worry about, Mike, your name isn't Mike. Michael. Yeah. I was like, man, we can help you, but I get it though, right? I think that's the thing with a lot of gym owners. They think like, well, of course this guy's going to say that he can help me because he's trying to get me to sign up for the marketing company.
Yeah.
Like we just see it so much. Where people think like, well, I'm going to do this first. I'm going to try this first. And then with that time wasting, you're sort of going to be similar in the same spot. Cause you're not going to have exponential growth with, you know, just like warm traffic and getting them new stuff and bring a friend days. It's just not going to happen. So I think with you, like it was sort of a perfect storm. Like you came back a year later, and when I saw you book the call later, like I didn't even try to really say you at that point. I was like, well, he talked to me a year ago. There's a reason he's coming back. And I remember telling Blake, all right, like let's make sure we crush it for him, because he's already sort of like a year behind.
Yeah.
He's done some other stuff, but now he's ready. And I think our relationship has been great since you started working with us. So let's sort of talk about when you started working with us. Let's sort of talk about number of members, and let's sort of talk about the growth that you had over the last 18 to 20 months from working with us.
Yeah. So like I said, like basically a full year wasted. It went from 100 up around 120 back to down to 100 again. So a 100 member gym. And like that's very close to break even point for us, you know. So, and I remember as well, Sherman, like that going off the previous summer, July and June were quiet months, and I was like, oh, I cannot let the membership dip below that number, you know, because that's going to be a disaster. And like, I'm not going to lie, when I signed up to Lasso, I did not sleep a wink that night. I lay in bed and I was like, oh my God, is this going to be the thing that's going to close my gym?
Yeah.
Because like I had like $3,000 left in my bank account, gave you like $2,500, and I was like, oh fuck. Didn't sleep a wink. So basically that month, myself and my wife, we just like I had a chat with her. I was like, look, for this, I was like, we're not going to take any summer holidays. No money for first of all, but I was just like, look, we're just going to grind it out for the summer and get ready for a big September, because last summer was quiet. We want to make sure we're growing the whole time. So those 3 months, which the year previous were really quiet for us, we grew by 50%. So we added in like 50 members onto the 100 that we had. So yeah, so we went from 100 to 150 in 3 months, and like we actually had more people come in, but you know, we'll have some attrition as well. But we stayed like a solid 50% bigger than we did at the start working with Lasso. So yeah, in those 3 months, we worked our ass off. We made loads of time available for people to come in. We just grinding like 7 days a week in the gym. And then after that, since then, we're up around like 170. So about 170, 175, we're kind of hovering around that mark. And like pretty soon, I'm kind of basically making myself more available for things again, but very confident that by the time the 2-year mark comes around anyway, we'll have doubled in size.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like I remember after we signed up with Lasso, like after those first 3 months, myself and my wife, we went away and we got ourselves a new car. We're like, sold your car, got a new car. We were like, this is how we're going to celebrate. And like, since started working with Lasso as well, like we've built a whole new second floor in our gym. So like we were at that like 150 mark. We were kind of close to capacity space wise. Like all the classes were kind of booked up, because we want to limit spaces to keep the coaching quality really good. Because I find out the hard way that that's what's actually the important part, not the equipment, the coaching. And we built like a whole second floor, shut the gym down for 5 days, and built a whole second floor. And we have 2 classes running together now, and we've like expanded our capacity. So we're able to continue growing again now, you know. So like I can, like everyone, especially me anyway, I can see like the physical changes that have that my gym has undergone since I've started with Lasso. Like, you know, I have this big massive testament inside there that's been like, this is the success we've had, like, you know, and that's been really good.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think, you know, sorry for your sleepless night that first night.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I'm terrible. Didn't sleep at all the first night. Terrible sleep the second night. I was just like, oh fuck me, I hope this works.
Then you woke up to like 30 leads, and you're like, all right, let's see where this can go.
Yeah, the first month it paid for itself.
Yeah,
which is good.
You know, like I think you know, for us, we're not one of those companies. Like I told you from the beginning when you were telling me about the growth and stuff you wanted, I was like, hey, listen, like we're not one of those companies that guarantee 20 members in a month, 30 members in a month, and 60 days and all that. I was like, but what we're trying to do, which we tell everyone, we're trying to basically double your gym in 18 to 24 months, right? Like that's a big testimonial for us. And I think you're proof of that, how, okay, like slowly but surely, right? Like month over month, it's like a little bit better.
Yeah.
When you stick to the plan and do it right long term, that's when the results come. So, you know, like, I'm glad that you didn't tell me that you were, you only had $3,000 left in your bank account, because that would have stressed me out. And I would have been like, I don't know if we're best fit for you, because what we don't want to do, we don't want to work with gyms and like put them out of business, you know, because here's the thing, you know, sort of my question is, when I talk to gyms, could, like, if you work with us, and let's just say that this doesn't explode in 3 or 4 months, what if it's just slow? Like, can you handle that? And if gyms tell us no, we tell them, hey, we're not a good fit for you, right? I just don't want to, like, I don't want to be sort of the straw that breaks the camel's back, for lack of a better term, with these gyms. So, like, I love to see where you are now. So, what would you tell, what would you tell someone that's sort of on the fence or haven't heard of us, especially in the European market, what would you tell them about us if they were like, I'm thinking about working with them, or sort of go from there?
Like, a lot of gyms are looking to somehow like capture the magic, you know. Some gyms can get in like, loads of Instagram bunnies and end up, getting in a lot of young people into the gym and they have big numbers that way and stuff like that. But that's kind of like rare enough. And like, every gym needs to do some marketing no matter what. I mean, I've heard some people say that, you're not a gym, you're a media company. Like, that's not entirely true, but that does paint a picture about how important it is to have some kind of marketing going on. So like, even when I wasn't working with Lasso, I was advertising on Google. So that was still an attempt to do something on my own. And like, that worked to a very small degree. But that was barely like keeping my head above water kind of thing. It was like not it was not conducive to any growth, So every gym needs to have some kind of marketing, because back in the day, like 10 years ago, it was very much kind of a garage gym kind of a situation. And now it's much more professional, and people expect like everything's moving kind of more towards like a service, and it's all about getting people in for like consultations and stuff. Like, I cannot wait to see like the death of like free trials in gyms and stuff like that. I hate that. And it's a nightmare as well for a gym owner to have someone coming in, trying it out for free. They haven't a clue what's going on. They require a lot of attention, takes the service away from your members and stuff like that. So you want to like get people in and see what they're looking for and make sure they stick around, like, long term. I always say that to people. So, every gym needs this if they want to be successful, and if they want to do it right. You want to be successful, you want to do it right. You want to have like a professional setup, and you want to get like better quality people in the doors who are actually looking for help. This is the way to do it. Otherwise, you're looking at some kind of like low level kind of boot camp situation where people can kind of float in, float out, and they're just looking for like, a bit of fitness, and that's kind of like a cheaper business model as well and stuff like that. And, big successful gyms, they have something like this, and this is the direction you want to be going. So in a nutshell, every gym needs to have something like this, I think. Yeah. Especially if you want to be around, like, I mean, do you want to be around in 10 years or what, like, or is this just something you want to do while you're young? Like, you have to have people coming in the door. And even if you think about it mathematically, right? If I have a 200 member gym and like my retention rate is like 97%, that's like 6 members who are leaving every month. I have to replace those 6 members somehow. That mightn't sound like a lot, but if you want to grow as well, you need more than 6 members coming in, and you want to make sure these people are staying a long time. You need to meet the people first, talk with them, and you need them coming in. And like, how else are you going to get them in without running like loads of free trials and bring a friend week and that kind of thing? People sucking the energy out of your classes, and you're never going to see them again. It's a nightmare, So yeah, you need something like this in your gym.
Sound like you've been listening to our podcast.
Like, to be honest, I haven't. It's just...
No? Well, no, that's the thing I always say, right? Like, mentor company, a lot of mentor, you don't need paid marketing. It's like, but when you hit 150, 200, even if you have great retention, like you said, right? 3 to 5%, it is still really hard to outgrow that. And I even said to, even take that a level further, the worst business plan is to count on your members to grow your gym.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you walk up on Shark Tank and the Mark Cuban's like, what's your marketing plan? Well, I'm just going to focus on all my clients to grow my gym for me. What do you think they're going to say to you? That's a horrible idea. That's not predictable. There's no sustainability in that at all. Right. Yeah. And you have to wake up every morning for leads to call, leads to message, and people to get in. If you don't, you're the gym owner that's freaking out, losing sleep every night, wondering how your gym's going to grow every month. Right. And it's especially like at the end of the year, it gets, October, November, December are harder months. And then people are like, oh, maybe I shouldn't market these months. Well, if you're going to lose those clients to budget issues, to buying gifts and everything else, and you're going to be, what do you think it's going to look like at the end of December? You're going to have a horrible month, right? Because you're not bringing those people in because you don't have predictable growth. When you can say, and you can look back and say, I know every month over the last 6 months, I've signed up 10 to 15 people. Then you have predictable growth to say, okay, now how can I get my churn down another 1%? How can I lose one less person? And that's an extra 12 to 15 to who knows, maybe even 20. If you can sign up one more person and lose one less, at the end of the year, you have an extra 24. If with a marketing plan and everything else, that's an extra easy $4,000 you had to do really not much for.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true. God, there was something else that popped into my head there. I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, I remember. Actually, do you know another good reason to sign up with Lasso is there's also like, gym owners have to learn how to sell. That's a real thing too. And part of that is like, you'll teach people how to do that. You have a course, which is good, but mainly kind of, getting the reps in, getting people in, talking to them and developing your own kind of like, sort of like a sales routine, but it's not manufactured. It's just like you learn how to ask the right questions and stuff like that. And, basically when you're selling a gym membership to someone, you're actually kind of like, you're helping them, but they don't even know they're being helped, if that makes sense. So that's a big part of it too, is just learning like what to ask, because at the end of the day, you're doing the best thing for them, which is basically like, you get in here, you're going to take care of your health. That's what you want. And we're kind of helping you do that. So yeah, learning how to sell is a big thing as well for gym owners. Like people think sales is like a dirty word, but it's not. You have to learn how to do this if you want to get people in the door, and the only way to get better at it is to practice. And without getting people in the door, you're not going to get that practice in. You could role play with one of your coaches, but that's only good for like one time. And after that, you really need to meet people, so that's a massive one as well. And even learning like when to speak, when not to speak, what to say, all that thing is very important. And it's not like a super secret formula either. It's just a bunch of simple little things. And yeah, that's another big one for gym owners. They have to learn how to sell.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason it's a big part of, it's such a strong part of our program, because I don't, we talk to a lot of gym and they're like, we're like, how's your sales? They're like, yeah, well, I'm pretty good at sales. If I get them in the door, I got a 97% close rate or whatever they say, which that is true because they are only working with super warm traffic, right? Meaning people that have searched them out already. Their best member, Karen, she's bringing in her best friend. Karen's already did all of the work. So these people are just following protocol. But when we get on this paid marketing, some of these people will know us, but some of them won't, right? Some of them don't know us. They don't trust us. So if you can't clearly talk about the problem that you solve, you're going to say, like, these leads are bad. No, they're not bad. You're just bad at conveying what you're going to do for $200+ a month to solve their problem, right?
Yeah.
So that's the reason that the sales piece is so important, that we work with everyone that works with us. No matter what they say, we're going to help you, because we don't want you to think that, again, we don't say anything is free on our ads either. Like you talked about, like, it's not the old bait and switch. I think everyone's over that, past that, but still, we're not going to say anything's free, because if we do that, yes, your cost per lead is going to be lower, but it's going to be people looking for free stuff. So when you bring someone that's looking for something free and then you tell them, oh, it's going to be $333 to do this program per month, they're going to be like, oh no, like I wasn't prepared to really spend that kind of money. And that's okay. So that's why we like to come up with real offers, not these quick fixes and stuff like that. So no, that's good to hear. Like, I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because the sales piece, the sales training is a vital part of running the paid marketing, because you have to be able to talk about how you're going to solve their problem, for sure.
Yeah. And it's not like the sales training is like some kind of master's degree that you have to go through either. It's like, nice, short, straight to the point little kind of things. But I'll tell you, before I signed up with Lasso, when people walked in the door, I used to make 0 sales. They'd walk in the door and I'd be like, oh, fuck, how am I going to get this person to join the gym? Yeah. It was just not happening for me. And it was a combination of not being good at selling, first of all, but also I think people that came in the door were kind of tire kickers and maybe just walking by and curious and stuff like that. But yeah, I made, oh God, almost zero sales in person when people used to walk in before I joined Lasso.
Yeah, no, like I think that's important though, because I think that everyone, like like I actually despise when a company says, oh, we're going to get you high quality leads and all of this stuff, only high quality leads. Because, like you'll know, some months you get a boatload of leads, but we only expect you to have a 10 to 20% conversion rate that first, like that month, right? Now, if you think about that, even if you crush it, 20% conversion rate, well, what happened to the other 80% of the leads? Well, that's the reason in your case you have grow, you get our workflows, or if you're without, whatever CRM you have, now that CRM is going to nurture them for the next 18 to 24 months so that when they decide they're ready to make a decision, they come to you and they don't go to the gym down the road. Because a lot of people think, I mean, think about it. It depends. Like it all depends on the person. If someone's never heard of you, they don't know anything about you, or they're just not really ready to make a buying decision that day, doesn't mean they're a bad lead, right? It just means they're not ready yet. So we as businesses have to continue to nurture them and follow up with them. And then 2 months down the road, they'll be like, I've heard about you a few months ago, and now every time I get on social media, it must be a sign because I see you everywhere I go. You're like, yes, like it's a sign
Yeah.
that I'm paying for marketing now, and it's actually
Yeah.
working. So, like I like that. Like I like that you brought that up because the sales piece is uber important. Um, so yeah, I wanted to ask this question before we sort of get ready to head out of here. What do you think, or tell me, what has sort of surprised you, whether good or bad, for working with us? Right, from going to not getting many leads to getting a lot of leads to getting more clients. Like what has sort of surprised you um since starting to work with us?
Well, at the very start, I aired a big concern. I was just like, we're on about even the pricing stuff for my membership structure. I was really worried for some reason about being compared with the other CrossFit gyms.
I
And
remember
then
that.
you told me, and it was so true that people coming in your door, they're not looking for CrossFit. They're looking for like a solution to either get like fitter or healthier, or maybe a small percentage of people are looking to perform better, but mainly like one of those three things. And that was sort of mind blowing. And it makes so much sense now as well, because, when you just kind of do more of it, learn more about this thing, I just think less and less and less about other gyms and stuff like that and what they're doing. Whereas before, I was really concerned about maybe what they were doing, how they priced their memberships and stuff like that. But that was a big one, all right. That was huge. Also, like on the flip side, you kind of learn a lot about people, and like I don't know, technology in this day and age makes people really kind of flippant, and it was a big learning curve as well. Being like basically, half the people that come onto your system have no real interest in committing to anything. That kind of stuff was just like wow.
Yeah.
Just because
Yeah.
people aren't built the way gym owners are built and that kind of thing, and maybe half the people that make appointments won't show up to appointments. And I was like, oh my God, I could never imagine making an appointment and not showing up. So there was stuff like that was like
Yep.
mind blowing as well. But it makes total sense, in terms of growth and looking back and stuff. Like, I understand that this is kind of the way it is for like a lot of companies in like all walks of life and stuff like that.
Correct. I mean, that's the thing we tell people. We'll, when to grow. I mean, and you're a perfect testament to this. To grow, it is going to be hard work. You are going to deal with, you basically double your membership, 100 to 200 members. Well, you had to deal with a lot of people to get an extra 100 members, right? It's not like you dealt with 100 people and they all signed up, and then,
Yeah.
and that's the thing we try to tell people, you know, we try to do our best to not just fool people to think they're coming in for something free or do a low barrier offer. We don't want to do that because now you're going to deal with even more people. But we try to do it what we feel is the right way so that we can have testimonials and clients like this that can look back and say, man, this has been a wild 18 to 24 months, but it's been great. I've doubled my gym, doubled my money, more profitable, expanding my gym, going on honeymoon to America, but I didn't get to see you over here, but it's all right. It's all
I was avoiding
right.
you.
So, but yeah, man, I think Blake, you have anything to add before we get out of here? I want to make sure we don't go too long. We've already started going.
No, I think it's all really good. I guess, like you said, right? Like a lot of people come to us from having really bad experiences. And with marketing companies, I think a big thing that makes us different and unique is that we're all gym owners. So we understand the industry and we genuinely want the best for our clients and for them to succeed. And so I think, you just touching on that, like, hey, yeah, it was a hard decision, but it has paid off. Obviously in full. I guess, what's the future look like for CrossFit PMI, like where you're currently at, and then like what do you expect based on your growth?
So when you start to get into like 200 member gym territory, the business changes a small bit. So I'll be doing less and less coaching in the classes. I want to put myself into a situation to hire another full-time coach and basically make a proper career for this person. And then I can work more on the business as well. So like the structure will be changing that way. Like I'll be less of like a owner operator in terms of like going in and doing the classes or coaching the classes, and working more like behind the scenes on growing the business. That's where we're going to go, definitely, without doubt. But one more thing I actually do want to say just popped into my head there was just like, do you know the way gym owners are always told to like outsource things that you can, like the programming, like the cleaning, this kind of thing, because as a gym owner, you only have so much bandwidth. Like I want to spend my time now like training in new coaches and make sure their classes are excellent. So like marketing is definitely something that every gym owner should outsource as well, because you'll waste a lot of time. I know some companies train gym owners how to market and stuff like that, but that training will require upskilling as well as soon as like the algorithm changes and that kind of thing. And you also, like, you've only so many hours in the day. So marketing is definitely something that you should outsource and just let the professionals do it. It's sort of like having a coach, like, like I hire a coach for my Olympic lifting and stuff like that to help me with that. And it's kind of like the same thing there as well. You'll learn a lot by just handing it off to the professionals, and it'll just be basically the same thing except better and way faster, So yeah, that's another reason.
Yeah. And I want all you guys out there listening, we don't pay Mike to say these things. Mike actually pays us. Oh, to be clear, his name isn't Mike. His name is, hey, pronounce your name, because it's not Michael. What is
Mihal.
Mihal. You see that? I've been calling him Mike for the last 3 or 4 years because I've known him longer than he's been with us. Mihal. Yeah. So yeah, guys, I mean, he's exactly right? Like we can help you because we work on such a large scale that we test stuff quickly. If we spend $80,000 a month on Facebook ads and you spend $1,000 a month, we are testing so much faster than you on such a larger scale. We're going to have the answers much quicker than you. And that's how we help our clients so much. But Mihal, seriously, man, thank you for jumping on with us, talking about your experience. And
welcome.
If someone has more questions for you, like they like to reach out and ask the owners questions instead of reaching out to us, how can they get in contact with you?
So I suppose the easiest way is they can hop on my Instagram. It's CrossFit PMI. Shoot me a question there. Okay. If they see CrossFit PMI anywhere, just click on contact and I will respond back. So yeah, through our website, any way at all, just mention that I was on the podcast and I will definitely reply. My email is crossfitpmi@gmail.com. Just throwing that out there into the internet as well. But yeah, that's another way of getting in contact if people want to. But yeah, if you see any way at all, I'll respond.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys. So as usual, tell a friend to tune in next week, and we will chat with you guys soon. All right, bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast with Blake Ruff and Sherman Merricks. We hope you enjoyed. We believe marketing should increase revenue and not waste money. So book your free call today. Head on over to lassoframework.com. That's lassoframework.com and find the right words, get more customers, and increase your revenue. We'll see you here next time.